What's up, everyone? Tara Roberts here with 444, and we are talking trendy sleepers, but with a twist. We aren't talking about the trendy sleepers that you want to draft. We're talking about the sleepers that aren't worth the hype. We'll kick things off with someone who might be a little bit controversial. Anthony Richardson is the future of the Colts organization. You don't draft a quarterback with the 4th overall pick without intending to commit to him. And with incredible rushing upside that Richardson offers, fantasy managers have pushed him up draft boards, taking him with confidence that might not actually be worth the hype. Richardson has an ADP of QB 14, and remember, that is average draft position. There are fantasy managers drafting him as their QB1, making him a very trendy sleeper quarterback. Richardson is incredibly gifted, but we've seen that even the most talented rookie quarterbacks with rushing upside still struggle. Justin Fields started 10 games in his rookie season. He had one game against San Francisco where he ran for over 100 yards, had a rushing touchdown, added one through the air. It made up for the fact that he threw for just 175 yards, and he finished as QB5 on the week. But there were lows, and the lows were low. Multiple games under 5 fantasy points scored. There is no way that you could start him with any remote confidence. Lamar Jackson's rookie season fared much better, but he sat the first half of the season. And aside from the final game of the season, his weekly finishes were in the QB 9 to 17 range. And it should be noted that both Jackson and Fields had far better passing profiles in college than Richardson. I'm not saying that Richardson can't achieve greatness, but at this point, we're not even guaranteed he will be the starter for week 1. In redraft leagues, Richardson just isn't worth the hype. Next up, Khalil Herbert's potential as an RB1 with his impressive 5.7 yards per carry has made him a very popular sleeper pick. I get it. The ADP is RB36, and that is extremely hard to pass up. It is low risk and potential high reward. But just how high can the reward actually be? Chicago wants to operate as a committee. This isn't conjecture. We know that they want to use multiple running backs. I'm not opposed to a committee that offers more defined roles. Early down / goal line back versus pass catching back. But neither Herbert or Foreman actually have receiving upside. And that unfortunately means that Herbert and Foreman would split early down work. And then either Rashawn Johnson or Travis Homer would be contributing to the third down work. Herbert is locked into a committee likely sharing early down work with Donta Foreman. He has no receiving upside, and he has a running quarterback. So Herbert is in this weird spot where he's technically more in line with the handcuffs, where he needs to have someone in the backfield, possibly, suffer an injury for him to have any kind of consistent upside. And if you look at running backs being drafted around him in ADP, Antonio Gibson, more upside than Herbert. Zach Charbonnet, still a mystery, but receiving upside and no rushing quarterback. Rashad Penny, more upside than Herbert. Or even a running back like Elijah Mitchell, who we saw contribute early down work last year in tandem with Christian McCaffrey. And he has extreme upside as a handcuff. Herbert's ADP ultimately makes him minimal risk, but I don't think the upside exists to back up the hype. Next up, Kadarius Toney might have stopped his own hype train after getting knee surgery, but in case you were still in on Kadarius Toney as a sleeper, it is time to get out. There is real upside for whoever comes out on top in the Chiefs receiving core. And the Chiefs have been very vocal that Toney could be their wide receiver 1. But is the potential hype worth it? No, it is absolutely not. As previously mentioned, it's not even preseason, and we've already had to deal with yet another Kadarius Toney injury. If you are going to invest in the Chiefs offense, Toney's ADP has to drop significantly before you can even think about touching him. This time last year, Samaje Perine as a sleeper was pretty much the last thing on everyone's mind, but after decent usage in the receiving game and a few boom performances when Joe Mixon was dealing with injuries, and a sizable contract in Denver, Samaje Perine has become a very trendy sleeper. And when I say very trendy, I mean so trendy that he's being drafted just 4 running backs behind Javonte Williams, and behind players like the aforementioned Khalil Herbert, Antonio Gibson, Zach Charbonnet, and Rashad Penny. It's understandable why people have been so in on him. He is a high upside handcuff with potential standalone value, with Javonte Williams recovering from a torn ACL. And quite frankly, given the severity of Williams' injury, it was very reasonable to believe that Williams might not be available to start the season, and might not be effective throughout the season. But surprise, surprise, Javonte Williams is back in action at training camp and even cleared for contact. And that makes Perine's sleeper status very questionable. Sean Payton obviously has a history of using two-back systems very effectively, so there's some potential, but at that ADP, It's not worth the hype. Now, I hate to do this one because I 100% see the value in Dynasty and tight end premium leagues, but the hype around Dalton Kincaid might be a bit too much. A shiny new toy for Josh Allen is very enticing, but there are a couple of problems here. One, how exactly can Kincaid be a trendy sleeper, Gabe Davis be a trendy post-hype sleeper, and James Cook be a trendy 0 RB running back sleeper? Buffalo is a high volume offense, so it's within the realm of possibility, but the likelihood of all of that happening, very slim. Another issue for Kincaid is that we can't forget that the Bills just literally gave Dawson Knox a contract less than a year ago. They're not just going to get rid of him. The likely vision here with Knox and Kincaid is that Knox can fill more of the traditional tight end role, and Kincaid can fill that slot role the Bills have been desperately trying to fill. So the two tight ends can exist together, but if we know one thing about Knox's production, it's that Josh Allen favors him in the red zone. Kincaid's success is largely dependent on filling a volume role in the slot. This is what I see happening. If you reach and draft Dalton Kincaid in the 9th round because he is your favorite sleeper tight end, you'll get frustrated as he gets acclimated to the NFL early on. You'll have to start a more reliable option at tight end. Bye weeks start to hit and you can't afford to carry 2 tight ends, let alone a rookie tight end, so you drop him. Around week 10, then things will kind of start to click for Kincaid. And you go to the waiver wire, you try to grab him, and you guessed it, somebody else grabbed him for free the week before. My advice, let somebody else draft him and deal with it and get frustrated early. Grab him off waivers after that person inevitably drops him. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe and like the video. Comment below and let me know what you think, and if you are drafting any of these sleepers or if you're passing on them. And stick around for more fantastic off-season content.